All right, welcome everyone. Today is Wednesday, the 2nd of August, 2023, and this is the SIG Cloud Provider meeting. SIG Cloud Provider is a sub-project of Kubernetes SIGs, and as such, we follow their meeting guidance, which is basically means, please treat everyone kindly and raise your hand if you'd like to speak, and I'll call on you. Although there's only 4 of us today, so it probably won't be that big a deal. So I guess to begin with, let's go through the sub-project updates and just, we'll just go around from the folks who are here and Bridget, why don't you go first?
The only one that I really had that was worth talking about is that there is a bug fix that we're trying to bring in after code freeze to the legacy cloud provider. And we can look at it and see if anyone else has any concerns about it. It looks like it only affects Azure, but that's the only provider, specific item that I had to talk about.
Okay, cool. Sounds good. Kirthan, any update from you?
Nothing specific.
Okay, thanks. John, anything from you?
No update from me either.
All right, cool. Thank you. That's easy. All right, so let's look at the agenda first, and then we'll go back to triage, time permitting. So the first agenda item that I put up here was about getting some Zoom meetings set up for the sub-projects. I have a feeling we might need Walter or Andrew to help out with this. Apparently there's some way we can log into the Zoom console that we have associated with our SIG and create specific URLs for sub-project meetings. And I'm bringing this up because the IBM cloud provider had been using a Zoom channel that I guess was associated with an old SIG account, and those all got shut down. So I was looking to see if we could perhaps get this arranged so that we could create a new room for IBM. And I think at the same time, we also learned that AWS is kind of reusing the Zoom link for this meeting. So I think if we could get access back to that console, we probably should create specific Zoom rooms for each of the sub-projects. But I don't have access to any of that, so I'm not sure what the next step here is.
I think I know what the next step is, and I think it is opening a CNCF service desk ticket, I think. And yes, go ahead.
Sorry, complete thought.
Oh, no, I think that's how we get them to give us the access we need, but perhaps Andrew knows more.
Yeah, so I do have the Zoom email and password. My understanding, so I guess when Walter did the handoff, he just gave you the host key and didn't give you the Zoom password. Is that correct?
Yeah, I just have the host key,
yes.
So I can't.
Okay,
yeah.
I see. Okay, yeah. So I think that the fix is I'll just send you the password, and then you can just log into the actual Zoom account and do that.
Okay, cool. Yeah,
Fantastic.
I mean, I'm not opposed to opening a service desk ticket if we need to.
We don't need to. Literally, the ticket would just be, we don't have the password, please reset it for us as the owner of the main account.
All right, cool. So, yeah, I misunderstood.
Andrew has it, then that's, yeah.
Yeah, I misunderstood what you were saying about the service desk there. Yeah, I had reached out in the ContraVex channel, and this is one of what Bobby was telling me was hey, get the whatever. Okay, cool. Andrew, I guess we will hook up out of band then, and or we'll sync up out of band, and then we can, we can get that set up. So thank you.
Sounds good.
Okay, so the next topic, for me, I got an email from and I'm sure Bridget did as well, from the CNCF folks or the KubeCon committee folks, saying that we have an opportunity to create a 1-minute video as a SIG update that would be included as part of the SIG's update for the keynotes. The downside here is that we have to have it created by August 10th. It can be no longer than a minute, and we have to make some slides for it. My reading of the email and the related links was that this is not mandatory, but we could take it up if we wanted to. So I just wanted to bring the question here and see, do we want to do this, or with a little over a week left, do we want to maybe try to catch the next KubeCon?
So I hesitate to offer to do more things because there are many, many things, all of which we have to get done. But I'm curious if the main goal and I've been in the audience and I've watched these video updates, and the ones where people talk to a slide and have a few faces on the side, just like we've got right here, is like, okay, whatever. But the ones where they have a call to action are pretty valuable. So I'm kind of wondering if we could kind of take this as an opportunity to almost do a trailer for the talk. This is just basically, whether it be Elmico or a couple of the tech leads, just, on screen saying, we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about this, and we're going to talk about this. This is all, like getting people. This is why you would want to get engaged with Cloud Provider. Because like, think about it from the point of view of everyone who's watching the keynotes will see this, and they may or may not care about a list of bullet pointed updates, but they may be very interested in, oh, that looks like something that is interesting to me for whatever my reasons are. Anyway, that's kind of, I think that's the only thing I would say would make a splash in terms of what goal do we have. If the goal is get people excited about this, then yeah, that's my thought. But
I think that's a cool idea. My like stress factor here is that like we only have a week to pull this off, and like, one of us is going to have to take some time to do it. Does anyone else have thoughts about this? Sorry, Bridget, were you going to say something else?
Oh, I was going to say my video editing professional / spouse is traveling for work right now, so I can't even check with him to see if I have video editing capabilities available to me this week.
Noted.
So,
Walter?
I love Bridget's idea. I will say, I mean, it kind of depends on which call to action we want. One suggestion I would have is engagement from anyone who is a cloud provider or works for a cloud provider might be one of the actions. We've done a lot to throw the cloud providers out of tree, and we're adding a lot of capability in terms of Elmico, your testing, some of the CCM stuff, some of the credential provider stuff. I wonder if maybe the call to action is, hey, do you really want to be a cloud provider who is taking full advantage of, everything we've built? If so, show up to the meetings, help us build out, a good cloud controller manager, a good credential provider, make use of the network proxy, make use of the webhook system we've built for you. Make sure that you are, your code is being tested every time a build is done, so that that future releases won't break you. I mean, maybe that is the call to action we want.
Yeah, we just need the narrator in a world.
I think that's a nice idea too.
Trying to determine if we want to try to schedule a meeting that we record some video in, or if we want people to just record themselves doing a talking head segment, and then, Elmico and I try to stitch it together. I don't know what people think that they have time for, but
I think sometime like this week or next week, we would have to just put together like less than a 1 minute video. So I think for me, probably the easiest thing to do would be like, if we could agree on kind of a script, or if we could agree on at least the topics we wanted to talk to, put something together, and then just have one person record it, like in, just as like a one shot, because then we won't have to worry about editing and kind of mixing and matching things up. The only thing we'd have to be worried about then is like, if we wanted to make a slide deck to go with it. I don't know if the slide deck is a hard requirement or not. It didn't look like it was, but I couldn't tell.
I don't even care if it is. Skip the slide deck is my take. I've sat in the front row at so many of these KubeCons and looked at these updates, and the ones where the tiny heads are on the side, blah, blah, blah. It's like, really? Anyway, we don't need to spend more time on that. That is something we should think about
Okay.
this week.
So yeah, think about it, and maybe like next week or like Monday or something, we could at least in the Slack channel, if anyone has ideas or thoughts, we could see if we could throw up some scripts or something.
If I may suggest, if we're going to get a script together, the best thing is probably send out an email to the group and, just go ahead and let people respond. That way we have some scripts before that meeting.
Can I volunteer Joel to do the recording because he has such a cool accent?
Nice.
He's British. It makes him sound like a voice of authority.
Right. It'll be twice as
Be
effective in
British.
Chicago too, right? Okay, cool. Thanks. I guess yeah, maybe I'll try and start an email and send it out like this week just so we can get some action going. Cool. Okay, Bridget, you've got the next couple topics, so please take it away.
Okay, just real quick updates. We did put in that SIG Cloud Provider update at KubeCon China. And Peng Fei is going to give this update. And it is basically a remix of the update that we did in Amsterdam, but his version of it. And we can't have any of the other Azure people join because it's the same problem where we couldn't have just Joel and Alnico speaking, which is two from the same employer and no additional employer. But if anyone has people from their employer who are going to be in the Shanghai event and would like to participate in this session, we can add speakers to it. I mean, we just, yeah. Please reach out to me like ASAP if you have people who are going to be there and would like to participate. Because it's always good to get voices from more than one provider, if at all possible. Okay. So there's that. Then there's a cherry pick that I mentioned right up at the top that I was trying to, I chatted with the release team. Grace seems fine with getting this into 1.28, but I did say I would bring it to the meeting and mention it to people. And this is a bug fix to Legacy Cloud Provider that they are to code freeze. So that's why it's, yeah, if you want to pop that one open. It's a bug fix to the Legacy Cloud Provider. It only affects Azure. You can go ahead and look at files changed and you'll see what I mean. But yeah, if anyone who has more familiarity with these code bases wants to look at this and see if it looks like this is a safe cherry pick or not, that would be super valuable because then we can either, because if we can get this into the 1.28 release, that would be great. Otherwise, we'll have to get it into a patch later.
Is it fixing a regression or is it fixing like a new bug discovered?
If we go back, sorry, if you go back to the conversation. Sorry, go ahead.
I reported the bug. I'm just trying to refresh my memory on it.
Thank you. Yes. And I think this one is because Azure is handling things in a different way. And so this is intended to fix the behavior.
I thought it had merged into 128 already. I thought we were backporting through 127, 126.
Could this be a different one then? Because this is not merged currently.
Is it merged like for external and then that one is?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It is merged for external. We're trying to get it into the Legacy Cloud Provider. Good point.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
I think, yeah, I mean, assuming like if it's a bug fix, I think, yeah, defer to Azure maintainers on whether it's on the risk and whether we should merge it. But from my initial view of the code change, it doesn't sound low risk. It sounds more like a medium risk. But that's really like any sort of, like from past bugs that we've seen, like any change in the load balancer logic where we're changing the readiness check for nodes, like that's all just like in general pretty high risk change.
Okay.
Because like any incorrect evaluation of nodes is obviously gonna like lead to downtime and service disruption. So by nature, it just seems like high risk. But yet again, like I think up to Azure folks to decide that.
It looks like Ping Fei already reviewed it and LGTM'd it. So I'm assuming Azure has already approved.
Yeah.
Then
Go ahead.
It was a regression in behavior. So in 126, I think, you add a instance in and it reliably gets updated into the load balancer. But what we were seeing is in 127 onwards, if you add a new node to the cluster, it doesn't actually get added to the load balancer. So I would mark this as pretty high priority for fixing. But you're right, there is some risk. The issue is the way it's interacting. So Alex came on the call a few weeks ago. The issue is how it's interacting with the changes that he's been making through some of the KEPs to improve the node health checks across the board for cloud providers. And it just, the way it was working with Azure just stopped the members being added.
I see. Okay, so basically there is a regression that was introduced from like changes in the core service controller, but we're fixing, like we're not reverting the service controller change, but we're just addressing the regression by changing some logic on the Azure provider, basically.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
The write-up of the original issue is that link that I've just posted.
Yeah. Okay, good. Okay, so what I think I'm hearing is this is probably a good idea to get into 1.28 because it is broken, and it wasn't broken, then it became broken, and this would unbreak it in theory.
And it sounds like we're also wanting to backport it too then, is that right? To 127 and 126?
Yeah, I think this started in 126.
So that would be cherry picks after it's merged, presumably. Which we have time to, if we get this in today, I think the cherry pick deadline is in 2 days. So I was just looking at that.
So I mean, this is a pretty short change here, but I mean, do we want to put the backport label on it now, or not the backport label? Do we want to put the approval label on it now, or I guess Walter did. So yeah, I guess we're good to go, right?
Yeah, I think we just have to get it. Yeah, this is, and if anyone else on the call has other thoughts or like, hey, this is good for this reason, or this is risky for this reason, please go ahead and comment on the issue, which is linked in the meeting minutes. This, I need to just go back over on the channel and say, we discussed it on the call. We believe this is worth going ahead and putting in the milestone. Go ahead. Does any objection to me going back to Grace and saying that?
Sounds like maybe not.
All right, awesome. Yes, I still need to finish the, why did I want to say 1.22? That's not right. I still need to finish the 2022 SIG report.
Just check the
yeah,
bug. It looks like it's actually been broken since 125 by the looks of it.
Oh, well, that's older than we're going to be able to. Well, and I think we can still backport to 1.25. No.
Yes, that's why.
1.24 is the one that's going EOL.
125, the code changes were behind a feature gate. The feature gate got switched on by default in 126. So that's why it was 126. I remember that.
Gotcha. Okay.
So in that case, like we want to be careful not to backport to 125 then, right? Because then with the gate off by default, would it cause a regression on the regression because we're trying to fix a regression that's not actually enabled yet?
Yeah, so it would potentially mean that you have some downtime in your service because the health checks aren't checking the right thing at that point. And so, yeah, it might extend downtime during upgrades, for example.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah, 126 onwards, not 125.
Yeah,
okay.
And that makes
we
sense.
might want to just add a comment in the current PR, just saying like,
yeah,
please don't backport to 125.
Okay, cool. Well, I'll probably be the one putting in the backport request, but it's good to put a comment on there so I don't forget. Okay, what else? Oh, yes. I see, yes. And then I see Chris has joined, and the next, when we get back to the agenda, the next item that I had was, hey, welcome, Equinix Metal.
Yay.
I see that they are working on finishing your onboarding. It looks like Mr. Bobby Tables and company were working on some slightly manual processes, but do we have anything more that needs to happen?
I don't
Like,
think
for
so.
example, do you
I think we're
need,
good.
yeah, do you need anything PR'd anywhere that says, hello, they are real. Here they are on the README. Like, I don't know if I haven't checked to see if we're missing you from any of the lists of things. Yeah.
Oh,
So
I didn't check that either. I didn't know of any. I couldn't think of any lists we're missing from.
I'm just thinking of the like SIG Cloud Provider README. So I'll take a look.
Fair.
It's just like the sub projects get listed. I think that gets I want to say gets generated from someplace, but I'm not 100% positive. I'll put a link in the chat to what I'm looking at.
This
Just want to make
is
sure
really
that
exciting,
you're.
Do you have any plans on integrating your platform with with Prow and Kubernetes, like CI tooling and whatnot?
Not at the moment. Doing Equinix Metal with Prow seems really hard for very little upside when GitHub Actions run just fine on Equinix Metal. So we're not against it though. Like, it's just a matter of what are we going for?
Yep, sounds good. Was mainly just curious.
Okay. Anything else on that topic? Or are we good to roll on here?
And not Nutanix, Equinix.
Oh, sorry. Too many cloud providers for me.
Yeah, I know. All us X's.
Now, what did I put the wrong thing in here? Okay, no, I didn't. All right, sorry. If nothing else on that one, then Joel, you got the next topic here.
Yeah, so more bugs. I got sent a bug recently, and it's come from a customer of ours who's looking at AWS, and they've noticed that if they change a service from a classic load balancer to a network load balancer, the service controller isn't removing the classic load balancer. It's just kind of orphaning it, which obviously is bad. So I need to go look into this, but before I do, I was just going to ask, does anyone have any pointers? Because I realized I have no idea how the service is supposed to track the cloud resources that it creates. So I don't know if it uses a label or something. Does anyone happen to know?
It's possible that there is an annotation for this. I know for AWS, like there's a very, very long list of annotations you could put on the service for various things. So I would just check those and see if it's like a known issue that's kind of been worked around with the label or annotation.
Okay, there's no standard way across clouds that resources that the service owns have been like tagged or something, then I'm guessing.
I think it's, yeah, like for cases where you're switching the type of the load balancer for this, like assuming you're using the same service resource and you're just changing the underlying infrastructure, it's kind of up to the provider when you do the update that you clean up the old one.
Cool.
But because we're not actually triggering a delete of the service, there is no like generic code path where you can call the delete path. So it's kind of one of those weird corner cases where if you are supporting switching the type, you can, you'd have to kind of add that yourself. But we did add this is specifically why we also added the load balancer class field to support specific cases like this where single load balancer controller supports like multiple types of load balancers, and you use the class to differentiate. And for this exact reason, we also made the class field immutable, because we didn't like, you're not supposed to be switching. Like if you want a different load balancer, you should just create a new service. But yeah, prior to the class field, some providers did support swapping it out. So I guess there could be some bugs there.
Okay, cool. I will go look into it and I will report back once I've worked out what the issue is.
All right, cool. Thanks for looking into that, Joel. Okay, so that's kind of the end of our regular agenda. I guess we should look to see if there's anything that needs to be triaged at this point. Unless people have other topics for the agenda they wanted to bring up.
You might want to use the needs triage.
Yeah, totally. Did I?
I think you clicked the other one.
Yeah, I clicked the top one. Okay. Wow, that's a lot of needs triage.
But most of them are like the super old ones that the triage expired. We just have one new one there.
Oh, okay.
If you look at the dates.
Oh, you just, oh, I see what you're saying. Yeah, okay. Oh yeah, those are pretty old. Wow. These are some old ones here.
Yeah, that top one is the only one that is actually.
I guess so. This sounds on target. Should we accept it and assign to the GCP folks?
It looks like Antonio says that there's already a fix for it. So I'm not sure there's, I mean, you can certainly triage accept it, but I'm not sure there's more that needs to happen. What do you think, Andrew? I guess Antonio just needs to finish that draft PR.
That's what it seems like.
I believe so.
So should we just triage accept this to take it off the list, I guess?
Yep.
Is it triage dash accepted?
I think it's space, but they might both work, question.
All right, I'll double check here. Where's that helpful link where it says my commands are this, that, and the other thing?
It's /triage space accepted.
Okay, thank you. Okay. So I guess that was the only thing that needed triaging.
Oh, Andrew, what is this one that you're linking?
Sorry.
Oh, I just saw in the chat that you.
Oh, that's for Joel. Like the last topic on the NLB
Oh.
orphaned LBs. I was just going through
Mm-hmm.
the old issues, and seems like it was previously reported.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, we should maybe just reach out to Kishore, I think. Maybe there's a backlog on the EKS side on it.
Thanks. I'll give that a read through and see if I can add any context.
Okay. Well, that brings us to the end of our triaging and the agenda. Is there anything else people would like to talk about, or should we take back 25 minutes of our day here? I'm not seeing any hands going up or people unmuting. So
actually, sorry, just one quick question.
Yeah.
What with the maintainer track session in Chicago, is that everything finalized there, or anything else you need on that?
Well, I mean, we just have to write it at this point, but no, as far as I know, it's like the submission is in. If anyone would like to join, or if we want to have a different set of presenters on there, I think I'm going to recommend, Joseph be added as a presenter. And Joel and I were talking, perhaps like, Joel might want to join as another presenter. I'm perfectly fine to take myself off the presenter list if like, if we have more people who would like to present. So, Andrew, if you wanted to join in on that, or if we had others in the community who do, like, I'm happy to kind of, help out however I can there.
Okay, so the topic is settled on API server network proxy.
I mean, yeah, I don't know if they'd let us change the entire topic and subject at this point, but yeah.
No, no, the topic's fine. I was wondering, because last time we spoke, it was kind of still up in the air, like you weren't sure.
Yeah, no, that's the topic. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
API network server or proxy. Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, yeah. So like, I don't know, Andrew, if you wanted to join on there or anything, like, happy to, ping me or whatever. I'm happy to do the work to kind of get people synced up there.
I think I'm okay.
Okay.
Cool.
I mean, and obviously the offer goes for anyone else too who's interested. Okay. Anything else we should talk about? All right. Well, thanks for coming out, everybody. And I guess we'll see you at the extraction meeting next week if you're around, or the network server proxy meeting. So later.
Here. Thank you.